Did you know a simple personal check could literally cost you your dream home? Picture this for a second. You're sitting right across from a seller, finally ready to close on a house. Or maybe you're just buying that perfect used car. The absolute last thing you want to worry about in that high-stakes moment is whether your payment is going to be accepted. You need guaranteed funds, and you need to know exactly how to get them without hitting any unexpected roadblocks. So welcome to our detailed explainer on mastering Chase cashier's checks. Today, we're going to walk through the exact steps, the insider tips, and the strict rules you really need to know to secure your funds completely stress-free.
To make sure you're fully prepared, here's our quick roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with understanding cashier's checks, move on to preparing for your visit, go through a step-by-step guide, look at fees and waiver options, and finally wrap up with FAQs and best practices. Let's just dive right in.
All right, Section 1, Understanding Cashier's Checks. Now, you might be asking yourself, hey, why can't I just write a standard personal check for this? Or, bring a briefcase full of cash? Well, for real estate down payments, lease security deposits, legal settlements, or even just buying a boat from a private seller, personal checks carry a huge risk of bouncing. And cash? Cash is just unsafe and completely impractical to carry around in massive amounts. The recipient in these scenarios demands absolute certainty that the money is real and ready to go.
So here is the magic of a cashier's check. It provides exactly that certainty. When you request one of these, the bank literally withdraws the money from your account right then and there, they deposit it into their own account, and then they issue the check from their own general ledger. It's the bank's own money backing the payment. For the person receiving it, there is virtually zero risk of the check bouncing, and the funds typically clear by the very next business day. Plus, they come packed with advanced physical security features like intricate watermarking and color-shifting ink.
And this actually brings us to a distinction that trips up a lot of people: the difference between a cashier's check and a certified check. While both offer some extra security, a certified check is still drawn on your personal account. The bank is basically just stamping it to verify you currently have the funds. But a cashier's check, that provides the ultimate guarantee, because the money has already left your account and is drawn directly on the bank's own funds. In fact, most banks, and this definitely includes Chase, heavily prefer issuing cashier's checks for these major life transactions.
Moving right along to Section 2, Preparing for your visit.
Okay, so you can't just walk into a Chase branch with a briefcase of cash and buy a cashier's check if you don't actually bank there. Chase enforces a strict relationship mandate. You absolutely must be an existing customer with a funded checking or savings account. And they aren't just doing this to be difficult. It's a really vital part of their anti-money laundering and know your customer regulatory compliance. You're also going to need to know the exact legal name of the person or business you're paying, the exact amount right down to the penny, and, most importantly, you need sufficient cleared funds in that account. When it comes to physical documentation, Chase is incredibly strict. You absolutely must bring valid, original, primary, and secondary forms of identification. Think along the lines of your U.S. driver's license or a passport as your primary, and maybe a debit card or a utility bill that's less than 60 days old as your secondary. And listen closely to this part. They have to be originals. Chase will absolutely not accept photocopies or screenshots on your phone. No exceptions.
Before you even head out the door, pay close attention to this warning. Let's say you just transferred the money for your house down payment into your Chase account from some external bank. Well, you cannot get your cashier's check instantly. Standard electronic transfers usually take up to 2 business days to clear. Those funds must be fully cleared and available in your actual balance before Chase will issue that check. So, planning this 48-hour buffer into your timeline is an absolute must.
All right, let's get into Section 3, our step-by-step guide. First things first, we need to clear up a massive modern misconception. Even though we live in the era of digital banking, you cannot order a cashier's check on the Chase mobile app and have it sent to your house. While a few competitors might allow that, Chase requires a strict, face-to-face, branch-only transaction. You literally have to go in person. The process itself, though, is highly structured and pretty straightforward. First, you'll locate a branch. Just use chase.com or their app, where you can walk in, or even better, schedule an appointment ahead of time to skip the line. Once you're there, you'll sit down with a banker, hand over your original IDs, and provide the exact transaction details. This face-to-face mandate is actually what allows Chase to perform real-time fraud mitigation. Once everything is verified and the funds are safely debited from your account, the teller or bank officer will physically sign the check and hand it directly to you. Guys, I cannot stress this next point enough. Triple check the spelling of your payee's name before that check prints. Seriously,
If you make a typo, you can't just cross it out with a pen and initial it. That check has to be formally voided and entirely reissued. That means you're starting the paperwork and paying the fees all over again.
Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Fees and Waiver Options.
So for standard accounts, the fee to purchase a cashier's check at Chase is exactly $10. When you request a check, you need to make sure your account balance covers both the large sum of the check itself plus this $10 administrative fee, because they're going to be withdrawn simultaneously.
However, if you hold a premium relationship with Chase, they actually waive that $10 fee automatically as a customer perk. This includes personal accounts like Chase Secure Checking, Premier Plus, Sapphire, and Private Client Checking. It also applies to certain business accounts like Chase Performance Business Checking. If you've got one of these, you are getting this highly secure banking instrument entirely for free, which is pretty awesome.
Finally, let's wrap up with Section 5, FAQs and Best Practices.
Probably the most common question we see is about timing. Can I get this today? And the answer is a resounding yes. As long as you physically walk into the branch and your account has sufficient fully cleared funds, the check is printed, signed, and handed over to you on the exact same day. There's zero waiting period for the physical check itself.
But now for the absolute nightmare scenario. What happens if you lose it? Because a cashier's check is guaranteed by the bank's own funds, losing one is a massive headache. You can't just easily cancel it on an app like you would a personal check. You have to physically go back to Chase, provide a sworn statement declaring it lost, and formally request a stop payment. And here's the real catch. They might require you to purchase an indemnity bond, which is basically insurance for the bank. And if the check is somehow cashed by someone else, you could still be held entirely liable for the amount. So please, treat this piece of paper exactly like you would a massive stack of cash.
And this brings us to one last, really important best practice. While we've covered the exact protocols laid out by Chase today, banking regulations and even individual branch policies can and do evolve over time. It is always a smart move to just quickly call your specific local branch before you drive over, just to confirm their current ID requirements or to see if they need you to schedule a sit-down meeting for particularly large transactions.
Being prepared truly makes all the difference in these high-stakes financial moments. I'll leave you with this final thought to reflect on. Have you ever had a cashier's check smoothly save a massive deal for you? Or have you ever been caught completely off guard by a surprise banking rule? We'd love to hear your personal experiences or any questions you might have down in the comments. Understanding the mechanics of your money really is the ultimate advantage. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and remember, always double-check those payee names.